Welcome to Meaningful Morning and a joyous new year to all who are celebrating a new year. For those who have any understanding of Bharat or India, every state is like its own country. Here in Canada, if you went from Ontario to Manitoba, you wouldn't even know that you went from Ontario to Manitoba. But if you go from Odisha to Bengal, you will feel like you're in a different country. So I think there's a new year every month in our culture, maybe every week. In our culture, divinity comes with a map. This map gives us a path to feeling divine. Our maps share that which is unhealthy feels like nectar in the beginning, but then ends up feeling like poison. We don't use the word nectar very much in our day-to-day affairs. So think of something pleasant. I don't know, ice cream. Tastes like ice cream in the beginning and poison at the end. And that which is healthy feels like poison in the beginning and nectar at the end. These details will come up in this map that we're exploring right now. I'll point this out to you in our next semester. We are in the final 7 weeks of this semester. This will be the longest semester of Meaningful Mornings. And then we will have the longest pause also. And when we resume, I'll share more about habit forming. Meaningful Mornings is a habit factory, encouraging us to sleep early, wake early, study early. And this may feel like poison in the beginning, but we're also trying to nurture this vision that this will feel like nectar, like ice cream, like peace. Sri Krishna is one who has the siddhi, the power that is known as Parachitta Vedana. Vedana means to know, chitta means mind, para means another. He can know another's mind. He can see into our mind. And what he is seeing in Prince Arjuna's mind is, Prince Arjuna now knows Tvam. He knows himself. He now knows Tat. That is Sri Krishna. He's trying to reconcile how Tvam can be Tat. The Sanskrit word for that is Asi. What's on Prince Arjuna's mind right now is Asi. How do I become being? And Sri Krishna answers with Bhakti. How the Bhakta can become Bhagwan is Bhakti. What does Bhakti mean? Devotion. How is Bhakti practiced? Dedication. Dedication to what? Being Bhagya. Bhagya means fortunate. It means virtuous. Just think, if you have the virtue of patience, aren't you the most fortunate person? Becoming Bhagya is choosing to convert values into virtues. And I again am highlighting the word choosing. This is unique to the dharmic religions, that conversion cannot be forced, so there is no conversion. It is choice-based. Everyone, close your eyes and open your mind as I review all of the values that we have explored thus far. Adveshta, he who hates no creature. Maitra, who is friendly. Karuna, who is compassionate. Nirmama, who is free from attachment. Nirahangara, who is free from egoism. Sama, balance. Shama, forgiving. Santushta, ever content. Satata, steady. Yata, self-directed. Nishchaya, possessed of conviction. Arpita, dedicated. No dvijate, the one who is not agitated. Mukta, the one who is free. Anapeksha, free from wants. Shuchi, pure. Daksha, alert. Udasina, unconcerned. Gatavyata, untroubled. Tyaga, renouncing. Bhakti, full of devotion. Open your eyes. These values are what are most valuable in life, whether we know it or not. In verse 16, the 20th value is Tyaga. Tyaga starts with renouncing doing. It is doing that which is meaningless. Renounce that. Don't do that which is meaningless. And another way to think about this is infuse meaning in what you're doing. When one practices renouncing unnecessary doing, one gets to renouncing doership. In verse 17, the 21st value, bhakti. I was sharing in our Practices to Perfection course yesterday a revelation I've had about bhakti. As I was looking at all of the people at Sumanji and Swati's Vivaha, specifically, all of the kids that are younger than my kids, that I want to keep moving forward in my life, that I will not survive another go at Dvaita. I can't do it anymore. And this to me is what bhakti is, that one feels like they belong to their beloved. All of the people in my life, including all of you, I only wish for everyone to move forward, for everyone to become independent. The 17th verse ends, like all of the rest of the verses, Yaha Saha Me Priyaha. the one who lives by these values, is dear to Sri Krishna. The word priya means dear. It's when you're living for someone for no reason. Think of your relationships. We have relationships for a reason. We're legally related, we're biologically related. I want you to look after me. But priya is where you love Sri Krishna for no reason. Maybe that reason is that there is no other love other than love for Sri Krishna. Verse 18. Samashatrau cha mitre cha tata manapamanayoho shitoshna sukha dukkheshu samasanga vivarjitaha. Joy. The word sama is used in the first line and second line. We have already explored this value of sama, which means to be balanced. This is value number 6. So why is Sri Krishna sharing this again? The nature of dvaita, or duality, is imbalance. And so if one wants to come to advaita, or oneness, one has to be trained in balancing. So Sri Krishna is bringing this up because it's important, and he's sharing this in different ways. Here he shares to be balanced in or with shatru. Shatru means enemies, and mitra means friends. But now what's to be understood from this, if you go to the second quarter, to be balanced in mana and apamana. Mana means honor, and apamana means dishonor. Those who honor us, we feel they are our friends. Those who dishonor us, we feel are our enemies. Honor and dishonor is subjective. Yes? The word durvasa means the one who has dirty clothes. If you call me durvasa, that I have dirty clothes, I can interpret it as that, but durvasa also means the one who is not identified with their body. They know that their body is made of dirt, which is the truth. So if you call me durvasa, I can treat that as mana or apamana. It is my choice. You can call me durvasa for both reasons. So the point that's so deep here, and I hope you're catching this, is that these outer labels of enemy and friend come from our inner labeling. That this is dishonor and honor. And Sri Krishna shares that again in the next line. Sama, shita means coolness. Ushna means hotness. That's the outer labeling, but it comes from sukha and dukkha, which is pleasure and pain. When you have taken a very hot shower and that room is so humid, and suppose it's January in Chicago and you open the window, doesn't that feel great? And vice versa. If you had such a cold shower and you come out and it's warm in that room, you have a heater on, it feels so good. The point is that hot and cold is really based on your inner labeling of this is pleasurable or painful. So Shri Krishna is sharing here, being balanced and imbalanced is a choice. Sheila and I have observed with our children that they can be more confident. We're trying to nurture more confidence in our children. And specifically with Vyasa, we are appreciative that he's going through this challenge now when he's 5 years old rather than when he's 15 years old. Or 45 years old, correct? It's much harder as you get older. And see, my point is that Sheila and I are choosing to focus on the positive, that we want our children to go through these challenges when they're younger because they have so much support. If they're older, if they're in college or in a relationship, we can't help as much then. Shri Krishna is emphasizing the power of our choice. And now the 22nd value is Vivarjita. Vivarjita, which means to be independent. Independent of what? Sangha. Sangha means dependence. That came in an earlier verse, to not be dependent on articles. That's called an addiction. To not be dependent on beings. That's called attachment. To not be dependent on circumstances. That's called apathy. To be independent of A's, B's, and C's. And as I shared earlier, the most practical way to be independent is to direct your dependence. Every moment, I'm becoming more dependent on the divine. And so every moment, I'm becoming more independent of A's, B's, and C's. And it is such a liberating moment, experience. Shri Krishna shares in Srimad Bhagavatam, those who live in a dependent way are like donkeys chasing donkeys. Now, if you were to chase a donkey and that donkey is moving from you, it's going to keep kicking you. So don't be in Hindi, it's called gada. In English, I won't use a word, but it's made up of 3 letters. You can infer that yourself. Vivarjita. From inspiration to application. Your application yesterday was to register for our Guiding Nature workshop. I'm not going to ask you if you've done this or not. I expect that you have done this. My organizational expectation is the way that I'm committed to you now for almost 1,000 days, for you to be committed to Vivek's effort to share devotion, to share environmentalism. Your application for this morning continues to love trees. For those living in Canada and America specifically, in our indigenous culture, there is a practice that before you cut down a tree, you have to plant 10. Before, proactively, not reactively. Now, I want you to think about your life. How many trees do you think you've cut down? Just think of your living space, your clothing, and so on. Now that you're learning so much about ahimsa or sensitivity, reconcile that if you've cut down 100 trees for your living space, then plant 1,000. Do this before you die. This is your legacy. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.